Hey everyone! Elena of Avalor is about this teenage princess named Elena who becomes the crown princess of Avalor after she saved her magical kingdom from the evil sorceress, and so now she learns to rule as a crown princess and eventually become the queen of Avalor. Now with the show itself, you can instantly tell that it is based on Latin culture just from the intro music, because it sounds very based in Latin music. And it's actually pretty good. It sounds really nice as well. It's pretty catchy, to be honest. How the first episode starts is literally with 2 minutes straight of just non-stop info dumping, just telling you the backstory of what has happened to Elena and her family, and how there was this evil sorceress that tried to take over Avalor, then Elena stopped her, and apparently her grandparents and her younger sister were put in an enchanted painting, and apparently with Elena she was given this amulet to wear as a way to protect herself, and it protected her by bottling her up inside the amulet. They keep repeating to you throughout the whole episode that they've been trapped in these enchanted items for 41 years, and despite the fact that so much time has passed, they've not aged at all once they leave. So Elena is apparently 16 years old in the series, and because she's so young, she can't really become the queen, but she really wants to though, because she believes that she's very responsible. But as you can see in the end of the episode, she knows that she's not really ready yet, and that she is still willing to learn what it takes to become the Queen of Avalor. Now, since this is the first episode, of course it's gonna be an introduction of the universe and all the characters and everything. But because it's only a half hour, and since it's also for little kids, I'm guessing it's for preschoolers or something, they just shove so much characters into this episode and trying to get you to remember all their names and trying to give them as much screen time as possible. But considering that there are just so many of them, that it just feels very jumbled up, and I actually had to rewatch the episode 3 or 4 times just to make sure that I actually got all their names from the show alone. Another thing about the whole entire series is the fact that there's a song that plays within each and every single episode. It's mostly just sung by the characters. Now, the song that was played in this one is called Ready to Rule, which is sung by Elena and her grandfather, Francisco. Francisco was singing about how he believes that she's not really ready to rule, considering that she's very young, she doesn't really have a lot of experience, but Elena believes that she can rule because she thinks that she has what it takes, and she thinks that because she is born as a royal member of the family, she believes that she has the capabilities to become queen. And so the song was pretty much them talking about the responsibilities and being a queen and all that other type of stuff. But the thing is, it was a bit awkward at times to watch them sing. The song itself doesn't sound bad, but it's just how the scene was incorporated into the song, if that kind of makes sense. There's this one part in the song where they're both twirling amongst one another while they're also going around a water fountain, and it was just kind of awkward to see all these wide shots of them just singing and stuff, considering that there wasn't really a lot to look at, so it was just kind of weird, to be honest. The song wasn't that bad. They sung pretty well. It was just kind of interesting. Well, that and apparently Elena knows how to play the guitar, which is another interesting quirk about her. Now when I think about it, there's not really a lot of princesses that are musically capable of playing an instrument, so I don't know, props to her, I guess. Since this first episode is an introduction of the characters and the story, it also introduces Elena's first challenge after being bottled up in an amulet. There's these mythical creatures called noblins. They're actually called noblins, and they say it so seriously, they make it sound like they're such a huge threat, but really they're just little purple trolls that transform into dogs. They're really they're really not that threatening, and yet they're just so serious about it. It's just so funny. Basically, they kept stealing these ships because they want to go back home, and they didn't know about that yet until they started just talking to them. But the thing was, when Elena was trying to find them and try to take control of everything, she focused way too much on her own goals and aspirations that she didn't really look towards being compassionate and empathetic towards other people, including people who come off as like enemies. And that's when she realized that she's not really ready to become queen yet, but she is still willing to learn. As the first episode of the show, I didn't really like the pacing all that much. It felt like they were trying to cram all this info in like 30 minutes, but considering that it's for such a young audience, you wouldn't really expect them to understand everything just watching it for the first time. Even I had to rewatch the first day of Rule a couple times just to be able to get who the characters' names are and what was going on with the backstory and what everyone else was talking about, because it just felt so rushed. I honestly feel like this episode would benefit a lot more if it was split up into 2 parts. So like the first part would explain the backstory, where they were explaining like, oh, it's her 15th birthday, but Shuriki came and tried to take over Avalor, and how like all these people are trying to do all these things in order to protect themselves and the city, but also try to defeat her. And then the second part could be about Elena and encountering her first challenge with the Noblins and just trying to become queen and try to prove everyone wrong that yes, she can in fact become the Queen of Avalor. I really do hope that the other episodes aren't as crammed as this one. Like the pacing is like a lot slower. You give some of the characters more development and everything. Like I just hope that, you know, the show's not really like a jumbled mess like it was for this episode. But other than that, it's honestly really entertaining. I don't really hate anybody or like have a huge preference for a character yet, just because there's so many of them. I gotta have time to get to know them throughout the series, and I really do hope that the writers do actually give the characters some development. But yeah, those are my thoughts on this episode. Let me know what you guys think about the show in the comments down below, and I'll see you guys later. Bye!